up mentally here to adapt. That's what good players do.
Continuing our MLB Draft Day 2 wrap-up coverage, back to the prospect that we mentioned before the break. Mayo, what do you think of this pick?
Man, I don't think any of us saw this one coming. This definitely feels like a reach to me. The team felt that he's got potential on both sides of the ball, and maybe that adds some value to him. But this made me scratch my head a little bit for sure.
All right, Jonathan Mayo, thanks. What about you, Jim Callis? Was this a head-scratcher or the reach of the draft, as some of the other analysts have suggested?
Yeah, I talked to somebody with the team, and they're excited to get this guy. This is a guy they really want. And the 2 points the club made to me were, one, this whole debate, is he a hitter, is he a pitcher? What are you going to do with him? There was a lot of confusion. This team isn't confused. This team feels like he's got very good potential as a hitter and as a pitcher. They may even try to play him both ways. And they felt like there were a couple other teams that were starting to sniff around this guy. And, this isn't the NFL or NBA draft where you can trade down to get a guy you want. If you want a guy, you have to take him because there's no trades. And they felt like if they didn't take him where they did, somebody else was going to get them. And they just absolutely did not want that to happen.
Jim Callis, we appreciate the time. Thanks.
A minor league manager
Hi,
checks in with one of his
everybody.
players to discuss a launch plan for the young man's development.
Hi everybody.
following along with the podcast and back on the prospect who's divided the scouting community, I am opposed to this belief that he went too high. Scouts who are down on him think, oh, he's not a finished product. We don't know what he is. That, to me, could be a good thing. He can hit. He can field. He can pitch. There is so much untapped potential so far for this guy. I'm excited to see what he becomes. And certainly as he gets started actually playing, actually being in games, we're going to be able to talk to some other folks who get a better read on him and see what they think. I'm excited for that. And frankly, I'm going to have my eye on him for a while.
A minor league pitching coach offers advice to a new member of his staff. A Double-A hitting coach touches base with a new arrival to the team. From his agent, who wants to make sure his client's career is being launched in a way that suits the young man's goals and ambitions.
It's actually happening. The organization has decided to try him as both a position player and as a pitcher. They're really trying it here at the Double-A level. Jonathan Mayo of MLB Pipeline is with me. Jonathan, do you think this can work?
I mean, can it work, Ben? Yeah, of course it can work. It hasn't worked all too often. There are more and more teams who are trying to make it work. Most of these guys as amateurs were two-way players. They don't specialize usually until later on, and often they choose one or the other. You see more and more teams really making an effort to let players do both to see maybe one jumps to the foreground on its own organically. It's awfully hard just because of the amount of work that you have to put in to excel either as a hitter and position player or as a pitcher. Naturally, some work is going to be taken away from one or the other if you're splitting your focus. And that's why we haven't seen it too often. Guys have to be tremendous.
A player new to his Double-A squad gets a tip from one of his coaches. This minor league team is reminded that the eyes of the organization are keeping tabs on him.
We hear all the time from people around the game that Double-A is where you start to see the breaking balls that are really set apart from what you've seen before. That can be a big challenge.
A player receives input from a coach.
Jim Callis of MLB Pipeline joins me on the podcast today. Jim, do you think this two-way experiment can work?
Well, it's difficult. You know, it's interesting to take a look at, but there's a reason this doesn't get tried very often, is that it's very hard to be a big league hitter.
A minor league manager checks in to see if this young man is inclined to make any adjustments to the club's current plan for his development.
Well, for a minute, it really looked like they were going to play with using this kid on the mound and in the field.
A manager checks in with his ball club.
One of the most underappreciated skills a young player can develop is plate discipline and the ability to work good count.
An agent needs to check in from time to time to make sure his client is happy with his situation. A savvy agent will engender confidence in his client, confidence that he has a world of possibilities. But the measure of a good agent is how well he can turn these possibilities into actualities. A player is confronted with a less than stellar stat.
He's run into some struggles early on at the Double-A level. It's his first real challenge in the professional ranks. Al Leiter joins me. Al, what's going through his mind right now? How does
A manager checks in with his ball club. A fast-developing young player has gotten the attention of the higher-ups in management. Prospects may not realize how closely they are being watched.
Another look at one of my favorite prospects to talk about. He's doing really well with the bat in his hands early on in his professional career. Jim Callis of MLB Pipeline is with me.
A Double-A manager has called one of his young players in for a quick word. The word is good. Within 48 hours, this player will be in a new city and putting on a new uniform. Inferences drawn from season statistics can sometimes illuminate potential areas of improvement. A player is consulted about a possible obstacle in his career path.
Taking another look at one of my favorite prospects to talk about. He was blocked at his old position. He said, let me try something new. He worked his butt off, and now he's at a new position. his road to the show is a lot cleaner. Mike Lowell joins me today. Mike, how much confidence and lack of ego does it take for a guy to make a move like this?
Well, I think it speaks to his character. You know, a guy who knows he can play at the big league level but is blocked. What's the other avenue I can take? Where is the other place that I can be productive and start my big league career? So I give him a lot of credit for trying a new position. It shows that this is the type of guy who's willing to do anything to help a team win. Now the question remains for the organization, by moving to this position, are we weakening a certain position, or are we opening up an opportunity for our team?
A player is presented with a unique opportunity.
Well, never let it be said this team is unwilling to experiment. They tried out a two-way role for him early on. They didn't think it was a fit. They moved on. But now they're reviving.
A manager checks in with his ball club.
He recently got the call to AAA, and he is now within shouting distance of the major leagues. But for now, he'll have to prove that he can compete.
A coach offers guidance to a developing player.
When you get to the AAA level, you know exactly how close you are to making the major leagues. Sean Casey, you know more than... At the AAA level, a lot of your teammates are guys who have been to the show already, and they can impart a lot of wisdom that can be...
In the minor leagues, a lost season is never fully lost because any situation can be a teaching opportunity. With the team's chances hanging by a thread, this skipper calls for a last stand.
Most of us will have only heard of this prospect recently, right? If at all. But Al, he's doing well in the minors as a position player and as a pitcher. And he's beginning to draw attention across the league. Do you think he carries that success forward and makes it to the show and thrives as a two-way player?
I don't want to be the bearer of negative news, but I find it amazingly difficult. I was a pitcher, and that was hard enough. So to think of this player as a two-way guy that can hit and play every day and then also pitch, very difficult. And the reason why I say it is that there's just so much work that goes in to have to play at that level. But with that said, I don't want to discourage it. I think it's kind of a sink or swim kind of opportunity. And I think they're going to give him a chance to see if he can do it. I find it pretty hard to believe that you have to go back to Babe Ruth, and I know Shohei Ohtani now, but we'll see.
Another major career threshold is being crossed by a young player who continues to defy the odds.
Talking with Cliff Floyd, and Cliff, when you're in AAA, those pitchers are making fewer mistakes and they've got a better read on you. You have to be on your toes as a hitter.
A player receives advice about the refining of his game. Sometimes dreams do come true. This player is about to get the chance that millions only dream of. The chance to see if he's got what it takes.
Back to one of our lead stories here on MLB Central. An exciting two-way prospect getting the long-awaited call to the major leagues. Now, this guy's not a household name yet, but there are a lot of fans who already know his name. And one reason for that is the Prospect Focus podcast by Ben Gelman, who joins me now. Ben, great to have you here. How'd you get in on this guy?
Oh, Robert, I'm thrilled to be here. You know, when he got drafted, he went a lot higher than a lot of industry experts thought, and, you know, that caught my eye. And then they started the two-way experiment with him, and I was just fascinated by that, being a fan of the game and the game's history. There are rising stars every year in the minors, but a talent like this just doesn't come around that often.
He's definitely a rare breed, and what can we expect from him at the big league level?
Well, they're expecting him to stand out more as a position player. They love what he can do with the bat in his hands. He's good in the field, too. That doesn't mean they don't think he'll be a contributor on the mound, but they view that as more of a bonus to what he gives them in the everyday lineup. A really exciting talent and just a great story.
And it's got to be so exciting for him as it is for every young player who gets the call for that very first time. Case, you've been there. You know what it's like. What is your memory of being called up to the majors for the first time?
Greatest moment of my life. I mean, really, like, I remember I just hit the home run to win the AAA championship in Buffalo. And it was just, that was unbelievable in itself. And I came in the clubhouse afterwards, and Mark Shapiro at the time was the minor league director. Brian Graham was the coach. And they said, hey, congratulations, Case, that's awesome. I'm like, oh, it's so great. You know, we're popping the champagne. I'm getting ready to go home the next day. And next thing you know, they're like, you're getting called up.
Afternoon baseball now on a lazy Sunday afternoon at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Today, the finale of this three-game weekend series between the Washington...
You're out. Three.
Now into the box, Taylor De La Cruz. He'll lead things off here in the bottom half of the first.
The second baseman, Taylor
The
De La
pitch.
Cruz.
Lifted in the air out towards left center. Robles is on his horse. He can't get there as it falls in. And they'll get the ball back in quickly, holding him to a single. And there's probably no happier person in the ballpark. Taylor De La Cruz has just collected his first hit in the big leagues. And as is customary, there's the ball being sent into the dugout. Someone will tuck it away for him to put in his trophy case.
Yeah, good for him, and congratulations. Listen, he's worked his entire lifetime for this moment, and he's obviously trying to play it cool right now, but you can bet inside his head, he's on top of the world.
The next to bat for St. Louis, David Peralta. His past numbers with Steven Strasburg. He comes in as a .316 hitter. He also has one home run. The 2-1. High pop-up. Cleary is there. Makes the play, one away. And that'll bring in Nolan Arenado. A couple of hits for him in 4 trips in yesterday's game. Now the 0-1. Runners off for second. Swinging a ground ball to third. Throw gets him, 2 down. So that brings in the power-hitting middle infielder Paul DeYoung. He had a homer in the ballgame yesterday afternoon. Tying run at the plate, the 0-1. Popped up.
Round hard, you're scoring.
Cleary is there to make the catch, and the side is retired. 1 left for the Cardinals. They trail things here 2-0.
Ball 4, take the base. He's out. 3.
Rafael Devers the next to bat. Pitch on the way. And a pitch down that swung on and sent to second base. Fielded cleanly. Throw to first with time to spare, and the side is retired. 3 up, 3 down for Washington as they're Now to bat, Taylor De La Cruz. He collected a base hit his first time up.
Yeah, guys, still the only hit in this game so far. They've been pretty well shut down. Guys on the mound have really much controlled the whole outcome up until this point.
Stevenson will get there, and he puts it away to retire the side. 1, 2, 3 go the Cardinals. They trail it here 2-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now, number 42. Pinch hitting for the Cardinals. Number 67.
10-1, the final lopsided score in this ball game. Washington put a 10 spot on the scoreboard in this one. Steven Strasburg earns the win.